Okay, gotta pump myself up. Time to solo laggy. Wait a minute, look at you! You're just a little guy! What?! Okay. Man, Laggy's got hands. Hello, hunters, and welcome back to Monster Hunter 101. I am Zygosium, and in this episode we will be taking a specific look at crown farming, what it is, and different methods of how to do it. For starters, what are crowns? If you take a look at your large monster field guide, a quick peek will provide the answer. Monsters come in various sizes, and when you find and hunt one, their size is recorded, assuming it is either the largest or smallest specimen hunted. If you find a particularly large or small creature, and again successfully hunt it, you will get this little crown icon as an indication of your accomplishment. There are three types of crowns you may see: a small gold crown for the smallest monsters, a large gold crown for the largest monsters, and oddly enough, a large silver crown for monsters that are big but don't quite make it into the largest echelon of their respective species. The purpose of the large silver crown, truth be told, is unknown, or at the very least I can't find a good answer from Capcom, and the fact that there is no small silver equivalent makes this particular component of the mechanic all the more baffling. For the purposes of crown hunting, however, the silver crown can be ignored as we are looking for the polar ends of the monster size spectrum. But the question now is why? What purpose do the crowns actually serve? Outside of the game, there are a few achievements that are unlocked as you hunt the various crown monsters in wilds, but as for in-game, there really is no specific reason. Crowned monsters are purely a change in size. They don't offer improved rewards, they don't have more carves, and if anything else, they can be more difficult challenges as their hitboxes are a deviation from the norm. Just like any other reason to play Monster Hunter, the people that crown hunt do it for the love of the game. They may want the achievements, or maybe they want to flex on their hunter profile, but you know that's why you're here. You want to get the crowns and you don't want to leave it up to random chance. Don't worry, I'll give you some methods that can help improve your crown farming and get that field guide looking pretty. Before we get started hunting, there are a few things you should be aware of, and a few tips that will make this experience a little easier. Your binoculars are your best friend with crown hunting. New to wilds, using the binoculars on monsters will indicate if the monster is an extreme size by showing the crown icon. You will need to be close enough to the monster for the information to pop up, but both the icon of the monster and the name will display the crown size if there is one to display. Some monsters, namely Guardian Arkveld, Zoshia, and Jin Dahad, are one size only, and therefore they will not have crowns next to their sizes. As such, these monsters do not count towards the achievements, and relatedly, any monsters added after the base game will also not be required for current achievements. And I do want to specify current. World and Rise both added monsters between the base game and their respective expansions, Iceborne and Sunbreak. These monsters were required for the crown-related achievements that came with the expansions, so while Mizutsune, Lagiacrus, Seregios, and any other monsters introduced between now and the inevitable Wilds expansion are not required for current achievements, they very well may be for future ones. Speaking of updates, it is also worth noting that currently in patch 1.02 there is a bug that makes small gold crown monsters less likely to appear the higher your HR. Capcom is currently working on this issue, but until a fix is in place, you may experience a much easier time finding large gold crowns than finding small ones. The methods that we discuss in this video will still work, just with a lower success rate. Lastly, be sure to save the crowns you find as investigations so you can share the love with other hunters. Investigations preserve the size of the monster so long as the investigation is created post-patch 1.02. There was an issue with the investigations before this time that has since been partially fixed, but as of the time of this recording, when you save a monster in an investigation, it retains its size for all 3 investigation attempts. Also, a big shout out and thank you to a user on Reddit, Bebeidon, who posted about an interesting issue, wherein a monster that was a crown when saved in a duo investigation, was no longer a crown when the investigation was picked up. I independently tested this with different configurations of what monster was the crown, primary or secondary, which one was selected when saving the mission, where the mission was picked up, and ultimately I came to the conclusion that if you save a crown monster as part of a duo hunt, the monster sizes are randomized again upon pickup, and the issue that existed after patch 1.011 has been fixed for solo missions only. If you are saving crown investigations, be sure to be saving the solo ones, as these will retain the crown size. This collaboration with Baby Don is another tip. I recommend joining a Monster Hunter Discord or groups on Reddit, or getting friends together to help with crown hunting. When you fight a monster, you can have 4 hunters in the mission at a time. This way, 4 players can get the crown at the cost of 1 mission. If you hunt for crowns with others, you can also collectively check more monsters than any one hunter can on their own, drastically increasing the odds of finding crowns. Alright everybody, time to find us some monster royalty. Grab your binoculars and let's get hunting. Playing through the game, normally, you will get a few crowns, at least 1 guaranteed from a story mission and probably a few from investigations as you farm for weapons and armor. Monsters and assignment quests, optional quests, and, once you unlock them, arena quests all have fixed sizes. These missions are not the way to farm crowns. Method 1, or what I will call it, around the world, is the simplest method to cover as many different species as possible. The method is simple. Run around every area and look at every monster. When you see a crown you need, save the monster as an investigation and keep going. Once all the areas have been explored, take the time to do the investigations you saved, as this will progress time and allow for new monsters to spawn in. Then it's rinse and repeat. Run around every area, save investigations, fight monsters, do it again. As you collect more and more crowns, you will find that this method will yield less and less monsters spawning, as you are taking less and less time between cycles, fighting the ones you found that were crowns. When you have somewhere in the range of 25 to 50% of your large monster log filled in, you may need to augment this method after each cycle by resting. Resting at your barbecue grill will essentially reboot your forecast for every area, providing a whole new pool of monsters to check. At the cost of 500 guild points per rest, this method can become costly. If you need quick points for this resetting method, check out my guild point farm video up in the corner. Even this revised method will eventually become less effective as your pool of monsters, still missing crowns, shrinks. When you are left with a few monsters per area or just have some stubborn holdouts, it's time to switch gears to the next method. Spawn scumming is effective for crown farming, however this method is much more pinpoint accurate, as you will be attempting to farm 1 monster at a time. Before beginning, I recommend adjusting your camps to provide decent map coverage so that when we eventually are checking the monster's size, you will have quick, fast travel access to it, shortening each cycle of resets. You will also want some investigation space, as saving the monster in an investigation gives you more opportunities to fight it should your original attempt end in defeat. First, identify the exact monster you want to farm. Check your large monster field guide to see what locations this monster can spawn into. What you are looking for is your target monster, and you want them not yet spawned into the area. Looking at the timestamps here, we can see how long we roughly have between now and when the selected monster will spawn. Following this step, we now need to wait until the target monster is less than 10 minutes away. You can complete missions, run around and gather, whatever you want to do to kill time. However, do not rest, as this will reset your forecast and you will need to start over from the beginning. Once the monster is 10 minutes away or less, travel to the area they will spawn into and save your game. From here on out, do not do anything that will result in your game auto-saving. I recommend setting a timer for how long you approximately believe the monster will be before spawning in, and subtract 1 minute. When your timer is up or the monster is incredibly close to spawning, save your game one final time. Once saved, the monster should shortly after spawn into the area. Identify on your map where the monster spawns, as this will remain consistent between resets. Find the nearest fast travelable location and go to the monster. Check its size using your binoculars, and if it has a crown, select it on your map and save it as an investigation. You now have 4 attempts to beat it and earn that crown, 1 field survey, and 3 investigation attempts. If your monster does not have a crown, quit the game to the title screen without saving. When you load back into your save, you should reload in at your last save point, which should be just before the monster spawns into the area. Again, repeat the process of fast traveling to the location where they spawn, check if they have a crown, and if not, quit to the title without saving. This process will eventually yield results. Both methods mentioned have their own benefits and detriments, but either one will eventually net you all the crowns in the game. With any luck, Capcom will in the future add event quests that guarantee crowns, or at the very least, increase the odds of the monsters being large or small. And lastly, if you know about the Wounded Hollow reset method for crown farming, I regret to inform you that this was an unintended bug that the developers patched and no longer works, hence why it was not discussed in depth in this video. If these methods help you farm your crowns, then leave a like. If you have any questions or if I need to clarify any points in my video, please leave me a comment. And lastly, please subscribe to the channel so that you can stay up to date with any more tips and tricks I find. That'll do it for today, hunters. Good luck with your crown hunting. Goodbye for now, but not for long.